come here united because we choose peace. Peace based on the foundational principles of the United Nations Charter.
Putin put forward a proposal. But we must speak truth. He is not calling for negotiations. He is calling for surrender.
No country wants peace more than Ukraine. But let us be honest, peace is more than the absence of war.
Everybody wants a sustainable peace, meaning a peace respecting international rule and restoring Ukraine in its sovereignty.
Well, leaders there speaking over the weekend at the two-day summit in Switzerland on peace in Ukraine. Representatives from more than 90 nations and institutions attended the gathering aimed at mapping out a path to ending the conflict. Russia was not at the conference, and neither was its largest backer, China. But nearly 80 nations in attendance did back a joint statement calling for a, quote, just and lasting peace based on the territorial integrity of Ukraine. The document also outlined what it called a common vision in three areas: the safe, secure operation of Ukraine's nuclear power stations by Ukraine, the secure transit of food products by sea, and the release of all political prisoners and abducted Ukrainian children. 13 nations did not endorse the document, including the BRICS members India, Saudi Arabia and South Africa. Nevertheless, President Zelensky said the summit was a success.
We have taken the first tangible step towards peace in the unprecedented unity of countries worldwide. It is our success that, for the first time in our history, so many leaders and states gathered for the sake of Ukraine and for the sake of peace. I thank everyone who was at the summit.
And we can now talk to Ihor Zhovkva. He is the deputy head of the office of Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. Now, President Zelensky said that the summit brings Ukraine one step closer to peace. Did he get everything he wanted?
Yes, absolutely. We wanted to get together at the table the countries who share the idea of bringing just and lasting peace. Not the ultimatums and numerous conditions Russia is putting when talking, as if talking about readiness to peace negotiations. 101 country and international organizations who got together this weekend in Burgenstock. All of them were talking about the support of territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine. All of them were talking about constant breach of UN Charter by Russia, about non-abidance to any norms and principles of international law, and just, abusing the rules and norms of civilized coexistence. And that's why those countries got together. They discussed the three main important topics of Ukraine's peace formula, and what is very important, lay down the way ahead. We got together and agreed that this was only the inaugural summit. What is to follow? The sub-summit events, according to all principles and points of peace formula, and the countries would divide between themselves which country would stick to this or that point, which country would lead or co-lead this or that point. And yes, we are living and we're going along the path to the second summit, where we will be talking about how to establish long and lasting peace in Ukraine.
Messages of support are a good thing, but wasn't Ukraine hoping for something more concrete?
It was not only the messages. If you read the final communique along these 3 points which I mentioned, there are concrete calls to action. If you take nuclear security point, there's a clear call to action along the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, for instance. It is clearly stated in the final communique the NPP should be returned to the international control under IAEA rather than controlled and occupied by Russians. Not a single nuclear state should blackmail the world by using the nuclear weapon. This is inadmissible, as it is stated in the final communique. If you take the point about food security should be deweaponized. That's what is stated in the declaration. And you should not threaten the cargo ships which are coming along the trade routes, as it we have in the routes, the grain route along the Black Sea of Ukraine and other neighboring countries. And in the point about children, there's a clear call to action: return all the illegally deported children back to Ukraine. More than 20,000 Ukrainian children across the Ukrainian-Russian border, and their whereabouts are not known. So this is a clear call to action, and the next steps is to put a collective pressure on Russia.
Now, but talking about collective pressure on Russia, several international heavyweights like India, South Africa, Indonesia or Mexico declined to back the final text. Are you disappointed about that?
For the time being, they have not adhered to the text of the final communique. Different reasons. Some countries which were present on the lower level than the level of heads of state and governments need to come back to their capitals and to further work on the decision to adhere. Some countries, yes, we need to talk in more details about them, but neither country said no. We will never, come back to this format and will not work in the peace process. Both India and South Africa were represented at the summit. Yes, not by the level of heads of states and governments, but they are with us in the process. We are working with the countries. The declaration, the final communique, is open to adherence. So already new entities are joining, like the Ecumenical Patriarchate is officially joined the declaration. The Patriarch Bartholomew was there at the summit. He declared a speech, and now the Ecumenical Patriarchate is there. I think some other countries who were not able to join the summit physically will also adhere to the declaration. Every voice counts, not only the countries you mentioned, but even the smallest island countries. They also suffer from the consequences of Russian aggression, for instance, in the environment area. So that is why we need to unite as many countries as possible for aggressor to see. This is the most part of the world who is speaking to you. You should cease to make aggressive actions across the whole world.
Now, is real progress achievable without Moscow at the negotiating table?
We have a very clear philosophy. When this joint roadmap, drafted by the countries who are participating in this process, will be prepared, the countries who are having their channels of communication with Russia are welcome to present this document to the Russian Federation. Once again, if Russian Federation will stop to listen only to itself, but starts to listen to the voice of the biggest majority of the international community, yes, it is possible to bring the representatives of Russian Federation to the negotiating table at the second summit. But not Ukraine will be sitting alone with Russian Federation at the negotiating table. It will be Ukraine and the countries of the peace process will be sitting in talking to Russia, how to end the aggression, how to bring peace to my country.
Ihor Zhovkva there, the deputy head of the office of Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. Thank you very much.